Yo, what is going on YouTube? What's going on everybody, man? Welcome back to the channel. How are you guys doing today, man? You got to be doing well, man. So we're back here with some more Bob Dylan. This one, it's been requested for some time on this channel now. We got Tangled up in blue, man. Finally getting around to this one, dude. Trying to really clean up on a lot of the ones that have been suggested that I just missed out on. So we've got Tangled up in blue right here from Bob Dylan. Dude, let's go ahead and take a little listen, see what we're getting ourselves into right here, man. Bob Dylan, welcome back to the channel. Love your sound, love your music, man. Here we go.
Early one morning the sun was shining, I was laying in bed, wondering if she'd changed it all, if her hair was still red. Her folks, they said our lives together sure was gonna be rough. They never did like Mama's homemade dress, Papa's bank book wasn't big enough. And I was standing on the side of the road, rain falling on my shoes, heading up for the East Coast. Lord knows I paid some dues getting through.
Pretty relatable already.
Tangled up in blue. She was married when we first met, soon to be divorced.
Okay, that's not relatable.
I helped her out of a jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. We drove that car as far as we could, abandoned it out west. Split up on the docks at night, both agreeing it was best. And she turned around to look at me as I was walking away. I heard her say over my shoulder, we'll meet again someday on the avenue. Tangled up in blue. I had a job in the great North Woods, working as a cook for a spell, but I never did like it all that much, and one day the axe just fell. So I drifted down to New Orleans, where lucky with a be employed, working for a while on a fishing boat right outside of Delacroix. But all the while I was alone, the past was close behind. I seen a lot of women, but she never escaped my mind, and I just grew.
Still got her there.
Tangled up in blue.
Dang, she made an impression on him, man. All these years later, she's still on his mind.
She was working in a topless place, and I stopped in for a beer.
Okay.
I just kept looking at the side of her face in the spotlight so clear. And later on, when the crowd thinned out, I was just about to do the same. She was standing there in back of my chair. I said, Timmy, don't I know your name? I muttered something underneath my breath. She studied the lines on my face. I must admit, felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces of my shoes. Tangled up in blue.
Only Bob could think of a song like this right here. Very interesting.
She lit a burner on the stove and offered me a pipe. I thought you'd never say hello, she said. You look like a silent type. Then she opened up a book of poems and handed it to me, written by an Italian poet from the 13th century. And every one of them words rang true and glowed like burning coal, pouring off of every page like it was written in my soul. From me to you,
Storyteller Bob.
tangled up in blue. I lived with him on Montague Street, the basement down the stairs. There was music in the cafes at night and revolution in the air. Then he started into dealing with slaves, and something inside of him died. She had to sell everything she owned and froze up inside. And when it finally, the bottom fell out, I became withdrawn. The only thing I knew how to do was to keep on keeping on like a bird that flew. Tangled up in blue. So now I'm going back again. I got to get to her somehow. All the people we used to know, they're an illusion to me now. Some are mathematicians, some are carpenters' wives. Don't know how it all got started, I don't know what they're doing with their lives. But me, I'm still on the road, heading for another joint. We always did feel the same, we just saw it from a different point of view. Tangled up in blue.
Dang, that harmonica, man. Great way to exit that song right there. I'm gonna have to dive into these lyrics. I kind of felt like where we were going for a bit. It sounded like at the start of the story that this girl's parents kind of disapproved of him and his family, making me think like that's where I was kind of like, okay, I feel this, right? Because when me and my wife got together, understandably, I was kind of like a kid who looked like he didn't have a lot going for him, man, and I didn't at that point in my life. So rightfully so, her dad was very skeptical of our relationship for a long time, and now, you know, we have a great relationship. I know that he's told me multiple times, like, hey, love you, man. You know, you've done great with Shanna, your family and stuff. So I was able to really get my life on track with her help as well. She was a really good person in my life, but we were able to get it on track. But I'm just saying that at the start of that, I was like, oh, relatable, right? You're kind of not coming from the best of backgrounds. She's got a better upbringing, and the family is very skeptical of yours. That's where I thought we were. But then he goes on to say that she was married when they first met. She was in the process of kind of getting a divorce. He helped her out of a jam, and then they went their separate ways, it sounded like, and then they met up later on in life, where he's at a topless bar and she's working there. So I don't know if she came from a good upbringing, which I thought it was the case. I don't know how she ended up getting to where she did, kind of working in a topless bar and stuff. And you know, I don't know. I guess that could happen, right? Maybe some people just like the idea of taking their clothes off in front of people. I don't know. It could be. But also, you know, statistically, it's usually people from a broken home, things like that, that end up in that situation. So I was like, okay, I think I missed pieces of the puzzle on this song. And as it continued on, it sounded like they once again went their separate ways. After kind of hanging out at her pad, at her place. So I started missing pieces of the story. I want to come full circle and get a full understanding here on this one, though. All right, so trying to finalize the ending part where I kind of fell off. You know, he talks about he's living with them. He's in a basement downstairs. It's kind of like a get-together where revolution's in the air. But then he says, then he started into dealing with slaves. He doesn't specify who he's talking about, but this person started in dealing with slaves. We could assume maybe the owner of the cafe, the bar, the place where they're all living their lives now, started dealing with slaves, and something inside him died. She had to sell everything she owned and froze up inside, so she broke down with everything that had happened there. And when finally the bottom fell out, this whole gig fell through, man, I became withdrawn. He's pretty much, I'm gone, right? I'm out of here. He said the only thing I knew how to do was keep on keeping on, like that bird that flew. So he dipped on that whole situation. Was like, man, I don't know you guys anymore. This ain't for me. So now I'm going back again. I got to get her somehow. All the people we used to know, they're an illusion to me now. So all the connections that he had back to her, they're all afraid, man. They're gone. He can't track her anymore. But he dipped on that bad situation. Now sometimes later he's wanting to come back. Some are mathematicians, some are carpenters' wives. Don't know it all. Don't know how it all got started. I don't know what they do with their lives. So these are just distant people now. But me, I'm still on the road heading for another joint. We always did feel the same. We just saw it from a different point of view. So I guess their lives started together, then they separated. They came back together, and now they separated. And he's at the point where he's thinking, hey, we don't have any more connections, but our fates will come back together again, right? We're gonna run into each other again. That's just how our lives are gonna work. I don't have a way directly back to you, but I just know that the stars will line up. Like, you'll be back in my life again. So they have this kind of tumultuous relationship, man, where he really wants to, maybe he's having visions of wedding dresses and a family and a home, but in reality both of them are just kind of drifters, man. Both of them are out there just kind of living this different life that doesn't allow you to settle down. She's kind of more on the crazy end. She likes that fast life. Him, he's looking for simple work, man, but he doesn't departure too far from those who like the crazy life as well. But I think he's having hopes that one day, man, she'll be ready to fall in love and actually be in a healthy relationship. But I don't know, something about her life is kind of a tornado, man. It's just it kind of leaves a trail of destruction, and probably not to her own doing, but she's just trailing with this bad karma around her, man. And it just sounds like a sad love story, right? Like, he wants more from this, and it's just not the way it's been. And now they're out of touch. He's hoping they'll find a way back to each other. We've got Tangled Up in Blue right here, man. Released in 1975. It's considered folk rock. Yep, we've got it at right here, length 541. Bob Dylan, the songwriter, man. Such a great writer. And I make the comparison a lot. And I can understand if people don't see where I'm coming from at all, because I think most of y'all probably haven't actually listened to any Eminem. But Eminem is an insanely good storyteller. He's very vulgar. So I think that's why most people probably are put off by him, and you don't realize how amazing he is at writing lyrics, because he likes shock value. He likes being offensive. It doesn't bother me. I'm stuff like that. I can read through it. I can listen through it. But he's got very vulgar stuff. But I'm just saying, some of his penmanship is the best I've ever heard. And the only other person I kind of put side by side with him to this point is Bob Dylan, man. With the way they can storytell, the way they can rhyme, the way they can make, I don't know, I guess Eminem's probably the one I've heard the most make multiple metaphors, quadruple entendres, right? In his songs and stuff, and I think it's just freaking impressive. If you guys ever want to actually take a listen, I would recommend maybe listening to a song called Darkness by Eminem. It's a recent one about the Mandalay Bay shootings that happened here in America, and the way he uses the words in there's tons of double entendres throughout the whole song. As far as talking about a magazine, like a reading magazine, but also a magazine for a gun. Scope, as in the Scope brand of mouthwash you use here, and a scope for a rifle. Okay, there's tons of double entendres throughout that whole song, and the song is meant to be. I don't really want to spoil it for you guys, so if you don't want to have it spoiled, this is your warning right here. To pause the video or whatever, or skip past this part. But the meaning of the song is about the Mandalay Bay shooting, but it's meant to be in the story of a performer getting ready to go on stage, as Eminem is, but then it's also the shooter getting ready to unleash the crap that he did, right? So you have those two meanings going through the whole track, where you could actually listen to the song up into the end about it just being a performer getting ready to perform on stage for their fans, and then this person who's about to do something terrible. It's a double meaning entire song, and that's what I'm talking about. He's one of the best writers of all time, Eminem is. So right here, Tangled Up in Blue is a song by American singer-songwriter Bob Dylan, which was released as the opening track on his 15th studio album. That always is insane to me when I'm hearing 15 and 20th studio album. This is his 15th studio album by 1975. 15th studio album by 1975. We are in 2023, and I think he's still releasing stuff. That is wild, man. That is wild. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, man. I don't know. That's just hard to wrap my mind around. So it says Dylan continually reworked the lyrics and arrangements even after the album was released. So during his tours and stuff, he'll say different lines in this song. It says during his 1978 world tour, the line starting "She opened up the book of poems" became "She opened up the Bible and started quoting it to me," becoming one of the first public indicators of Dylan's conversion to Christianity. The version released on the Real Live as performed throughout his 1984 Europe tour offers or differs radically in structure and lyrics from earlier versions, with a more cynical view of romance. Dylan said in 1985 that he was more satisfied with the implementation of multiple viewpoints in the song than he had been with the original. Dylan has often stated that the song took 10 years to live and 2 years to write, dude. Really cool. That's insane about Dylan for me. I am used to bands changing up the song a little bit with their live versions to kind of extend it, but it sounds like this is a kind of ever reworked song for him, where he has changed the lyrics in it, he has changed the composition of it over time, he has changed it to have a kind of different view over time. And if he's doing this with one song, I gotta assume he's done this with multiple songs. I just think that's something, man. That's pretty good stuff. I don't know how people do that. Like, you have the original that you study for years, and that this becomes your standard version that you perform, and then slowly you can add blocks onto it, reshape it, remold it, and you remember this new version that has taken on 2, 3, 4 reworks, and now you remember this version of it. That's just, I don't have that. I don't have that creativity, and I'm not. It's not tangible to me to be able to hold on to something I've changed so much. That's crazy. Only true creative people can do that, I guess. Well, thank you guys for being here today, man. Really appreciate that. Hopefully you enjoyed the reaction, and maybe learned a little bit about it with me, or maybe you knew it, man. And I'm trying to still be like, well, I hope their story comes back together. Let me know if my take on it is also what you guys took it as, or if you have a different take on it, man. Thank you so much for tuning in right here, man. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to like, subscribe. Check out the descriptions down below for other ways you can help the channel, man. Appreciate that. And yep, down below in the descriptions, there's ways that you can become a member here on my YouTube, my Patreon, donation requests if you choose, man. Thank you so much. I'll catch you on the next one, all right? Peace.